Alright, this is Shawn Farris for Storyboard Gaming Prototype Week 3. Made some changes to the main screen at the teacher's request. I've changed the new game to just say tutorial, and continue game will take you to level 1-1, which I'll go to first. This level is completely in development. It can run off the edges of it pretty quickly here. The only reason it's even existing is to test the timer here at the top. The code for that is pretty simple. It's just taking the time.delta time and adding it to a temporary float, and the reason behind that is I want to be able to add zeros if the time is less than 10 seconds and alter the time so that way when it gets over 1 minute it'll automatically say 1 point whatever seconds instead of saying 62 seconds or 75 seconds for the player. Pretty easy. The addition to that too is that I'll be able to pause that timer since you can't pause time.delta time or time.time in Unity, so that way if there's an event on the screen the player won't have their timer running during that time. If you hit the back button on devices now, it'll take you back to the main menu. The teacher had mentioned putting a button in to take you back, but the UI is already pretty cluttered as it is, and I had to make some changes to the button scheme, which are better shown in the tutorial level, but I did change the colors. The teacher said there was some conflict between the jump button, which was actually because of where they were located. They were too close to one another and they were triggering each other, but I also think maybe the color will help the user distinguish between the two. So I'm going to go back to the main menu. We're going to go to the tutorial real quick. So in the tutorial, I'll turn the sound back on. So there's background music. I've added flashes to the buttons for the first time they're activated to help the player notice that they've come on screen. We've changed the save tanks from the original Angels to be these more medieval cryo tanks, and they've got some coloration on them to help the player know when they've triggered them. You'll see the jump button is in a slightly different position than it was before. This should help hitting the jump button and not accidentally triggering the gravity button as well. I also moved the death icon further up into the right so that way it's not in the way of any of the danger spots. The instructor said during testing it was kind of conflicting with what some of the danger spots you couldn't see, and I agreed. So I moved it up there. Oh, I died. I'm not so sure about the jump issues with it not being responsive. My device is charging at the moment, so I can't test it, but I'm going to hopefully be able to work that out. It'll be my main goal for the next prototype build at the end of week 4 to get the button being responsive. I think it may be the on press call that Unity uses instead of using like an event handler for pointer on. As you can see that the jump and the swap gravity are a good distance away from one another now. When they're too close to one another, their trigger boxes are overlapping, making it so that way she'll swap gravity in the middle of the air, so they don't trigger each other anymore. I'm not having much trouble in emulation getting through the levels, but if the jump button isn't responding quite the way it is supposed to, I can see how that can cause some trouble. So I'll be testing that on my device this week, and it'll be my main focus, like I said. So now we have the ability to fire, get back on the ground. It's nice and out of the way of the other three, so it's not triggering the gravity swap either. So I don't know if you can hear that in this play that I've added a jump sound for Pixie, so she has a sound effect. I'll probably try to find a good death sound to add in as well. And you see when you trigger the last tank, it takes you back to the main screen, so there's kind of an exit. But anytime during gameplay you want to go back to the main screen, you can just hit the back button on the device and it should take you to the back.